everybody, and welcome to Keeping It Real TV Network. Keeping it real in all aspects of life and giving back in more ways than one. I am First Lady J, and we are excited that you are here for this evening for our topic entitled Freedom Women at the Well. I'm so excited that you are here. As you come on in, please let us know where you are watching from. Give us a quick wave. And share this broadcast with your friends, your family, inbox it to them. And as one of our Keeping It Real TV Network squad members actually posted and said, grab your tea, grab your coffee, your hot chocolate, and your warm blanket, and come and join us for this evening. I promise you that it will touch your life and that it will edify you. For sure. So again, welcome. Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us this evening. As you come on, give us a quick wave, smash on the heart button. And if you're looking for any of our links on any of our platforms, they're all listed in the comments that's actually pinned below, along with Tammy's. Tammy's is there too, entitled Women at the Well. We are so excited to have Tammy here with us this evening. Tammy Flakes. Please give her a round of applause. Give her hearts. Hello. Thank you for joining this evening. Tammy is our guest. Tammy Flakes is our guest this evening. I'm really excited to have her here. I'm going to have her introduce herself real quickly. She is also a friend and a sister of mine. I truly do adore her. But go ahead, Tammy. Introduce yourself. And welcome to Canada.
Wow. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited and I'm so grateful to be able to join you tonight. I am an author. I am a mother. I am a wife. I'm a servant. I believe that's my greatest call is to be a servant to the people of God and to just people in general. And I'm really excited to be able to share tonight about the woman at the well and freedom and really in my voice what I believe freedom to be. So I'm glad to be here. It's so good to see your face.
Yes. Welcome. Again, hello everybody who's joining. It's so good to see you. Please like and share and smash on the heart buttons. Welcome. I'm going to backtrack just for one moment because Tammy also has another book entitled Nuggets of Wisdom, which is a 30-day devotional. It's really good. And honestly, each one that you read it's like a page and a half long. So honestly, it's really good, really edifying, really edifying. And so I encourage you to grab that as well. But in regards to the book, A Woman at the Well, there are 14 people who wrote this book, including yourself, right? So there's
Yes.
13 co-authors, right?
Yes.
Okay. And amazing and edifying stories. So each author has a bio at the beginning of their story. So you kind of know like where they're coming from and how they've gone through this transition and how they've healed and God has touched them. And honestly, it really touched me how transparent these authors, including yourself, were, because a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them grew up in church. And there was some that I could identify with, and I'm sure everybody else can identify with as well. But give us a little bit about your story from this book.
So, my story is called Inside Out, and it's really dealing with the fact that many times we try to dress ourselves up and make ourselves look really good on the outside, and people will make judgments or determine what type of life you have based on what you look like. So, God took me through a process where He healed me, but He didn't heal me outside in. He healed me from the inside, dealing with my hurts, dealing with shame, dealing with the pain that I had carried for years. So He healed me literally from the inside out. And so part of my story, I talk about the levees for Hurricane Katrina, and
Hmm.
how just a little bit about how those levees did not fail at the first season, the first hurricane season. It took time to wear those levees out. So many times we're dressed up and we look good, we sound good, we drive nice cars, all of that external stuff, but something can occur
Right.
where everything fails.
Yeah.
And that's where God met me when everything failed.
Yes, yes. And thank God. Thank God. Thank God. That's amazing. Um,
Yeah.
so for those who haven't read the book yet,
Mhm.
what can you give them like a sneak peek of what to expect?
So I will say for sure, like every story is about healing and transformation. Any story that you read in this book, you're going to meet a person and they'll take you through their journey of healing. And it will look different. Just like First Lady J said, everything's going to look different based on the writer. But the commonality is that Jesus met us all. Like he did not leave us in the position that we were in. He met us all in a broken place
Yes.
and then healed us and let us go forth. So the women that wrote in this book, like I can remember reading parts of their stories and I was like, wow, because just like I was saying earlier, so many times we look at people and we really believe that we know everything about them
True.
just from what they look like on the
Yeah.
outside, right? And it's not true. A lot of people that smile are not happy. A lot of people that have the nicest things are not happy. Some are, like, I don't want to bucket everybody
Right.
into,
Right.
one place. But there are a lot of people that are silently
Yeah.
hurting.
Hurting. Yeah.
And this book will minister to those that need God. They just need Him.
Amen.
Or they want to celebrate with those that God has truly delivered. So it was an amazing project.
Amen. Yes. And it actually looks like so much fun too, like putting it all together and everybody's stories. I'm sure it was a lot of work, but at the same time, a lot of fun. Just to backtrack just for a moment, just for viewers who maybe don't even know the story of the woman at the well, can you touch on that a little bit just from the Bible so they have the understanding of what that means, the woman at the well?
Yes, of course. So you'll find her story in St. John chapter 4. And it is a story that I had heard in church, but only stopped at the just certain pieces of it. So in this story, basically, in the beginning of that chapter, the Bible says that Jesus needed to go through Samaria.
Right.
And that wasn't a place where they didn't go through Samaria. They would go all the way around Samaria when they traveled to get to where they were going. So the fact that, let's start with the beginning, Jesus needed to go through Samaria. He needed to get to this woman that would be at the well. So even though she didn't know she had a date with her purpose and destiny, he knew that he needed to get to her where she
Right.
was. So it starts out like just that piece by itself, that he knows where to find us.
Yes.
He knows where we'll be. Like that. I mean, he cares about us. And even if you've never been, like, if you weren't raised in the church, I wasn't raised in church. So the fact that I could read that he was looking for me,
Right.
like he had a day to find me, that is like amazing to
Touching.
me.
Yeah.
So he goes, okay, right. It's just
It's
like,
like you feel
wow,
it.
I'm that important to God that he would find me.
Right.
When people try to discard, they tried to discard me. When people tried to talk about me, when people said I would never be anything because I didn't have what it took to become
Yeesh.
anything,
Come on,
he was
sis.
looking for me,
Yes.
right? And he was looking for all of us. So he meets this woman at the well, and I'll speed it up. But he meets this woman at the well, and they begin a dialogue. So that lets me know that he wants to talk to us.
Mm.
He's not afraid of the mistakes that we've made.
No.
He's not afraid of the places that we've been. He's not afraid of any of that. He's like, I want to talk to you. And because you don't know how to get to me, I'm gonna come to you. That's really what he was saying, is I'm
Mhm.
coming to you, right? So he has this dialogue with her, and they're discussing all kind of things. They're discussing their father Abraham, and is he this, and all kind of stuff, just kind of chit chatting until Jesus got to the very core of who she was as a person. That she was coming to draw water at a weird time of the day. That go get your husband. Oh, you don't have a husband?
Right.
Oh yeah, you've had five,
Right.
right? And out of the five, now you got another one that's not even your
That's
husband.
not even
Like
yours.
he
Yeah.
came, so he came to deal with her, and he
Right.
came to minister to her. And I was thinking, Jenny, I was thinking about one of the things that you said to me when we were talking about why don't we share our testimonies or where we are. And I began to think a lot of it is because we get excited about the wrong stuff.
Yes.
This woman was obviously in pain.
Mm.
But I think about sometimes when I've been at church and people look down when people talk about how they've overcome a mental illness, or they've overcome adultery or fornication or molestation or rape or all of those things. People look down.
Right.
But if you say you got a new car, why is everybody shouting?
Mm.
Why is everybody shouting about the house? Why can't we shout that somebody was redeemed or delivered from the hands of the enemy?
Right.
So, I mean, it baffles me.
Right.
Like, it really baffles me. So, he met that woman to change her life,
Mm.
and he knew she couldn't get to him. So, he had a appointment to get to her. He knows how to get to you. I want to say that. He knows how to get to you.
He does. He does. Absolutely. I love that. I got goosebumps. I got goosebumps. It's very, very, very true. And when you feel that you're in your darkest moment and you feel that nobody cares, or maybe you can't talk to somebody about your situation because you feel it's so dark, it's so gloomy, it's so like God could never forgive me. First off, I want to input this. I really feel I need to input this is that it's hard for us as humans to comprehend that all sin to God is a sin. A lie, murder, they're on the same level. We categorize things. And so we feel that we sometimes can't even go to God because I feel shameful, but he wants us to come to him. And not only does he want us to come to him, he wants us to come boldly to him and say,
Yeah.
like my conversations with God are not like, hi, how are you? I'm like, okay, yo, God, like I'm really like real down to earth. And when I'm upset, I'm like, hey, God, you need to calm me down right now. Like I'm really like I talk to him conversation wise, like I would talk to one of my girls. And so I love all the points that you just touched on. So don't ever feel like you can't go to God because he does forgive. He really truly does. Um,
Yeah.
but um, as Jesus drew the woman at the well closer to him through conversation, have you been in a
Mhm.
similar encounter where you have drawn others to God or others have drawn you closer to God through similar conversations? If so, can you share a bit on that?
I think that I can say yes for both. I believe that there have been times where maybe my faith was low. There were times that I was seeing myself through the lens of defeat, and God would send someone, and sometimes it wouldn't even be a person that was a believer.
Mm-hmm.
He can send
It's so true.
anyone or anything to minister to you. But as it pertains to a person, I have been in situations where someone spoke to me and it touched my spirit, man, my soul. And I was like, yeah, no, God does love me. and I can keep going because I'm not the only one that's ever made a mistake. I'm
Right.
not the only one that ever has felt like a failure.
Right.
And so I feel like, God puts us and others in places where when our faith becomes low, because the woman at the well had a level of faith, it was just not on Christ.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't throw that level away, and he didn't throw her away.
Right.
He ministered to her. So
Yeah.
I do believe that I've been in a situation, where someone has ministered to me, and then it taught me how to minister back.
Hmm. That's
Hmm.
good. That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
It can definitely, though, be nerve wracking in sharing your testimony. It's about Jesus to friends and stuff like that, and where you were to where you are now. Um, can you share
Yeah.
on why that could be difficult and the emotions that come with that?
I think that sometimes it's difficult because, one, if you haven't come to grips with who you are outside of what you've done or where you've been, it'll make you live in a place of shame. It'll make you live in a place of guilt. It'll make you live in a place of defeat. So, um, I think that many times we look at, like, when we look at freedom, let's draw the freedom into it. When we look at freedom, a lot of times we don't understand, like, part of freedom is the freedom to be who you really are.
Yes.
Part of who you really are is the mistakes that you've made. Part of who you really are your victories. Part of who you are is that you may not know, but sometimes we live in the pain of our mistakes.
Hmm. Hmm.
We live in those become roadblocks that stop us or hinder us from actually going and being what we were created to be. So if you have a person that, when they were young, endured sexual trauma, then in their mind, they might think that this is all that I am. Like, this happened to me. This is all that I am. I can't ever share this. But that's not true.
No.
That's like a limiting thought, a belief system to keep you away from where you should really be. And there's a freedom that happened for these women in that wrote this book with me. There's something that happened to them when they began to talk about really the testimony of God delivering them, where the shame of it disappeared. The guilt of it disappeared. And all they could see was Christ and the fact that he was making them into something that he had ordained for them to be from the very beginning. But it was stuff that they were carrying, that shame and doubt and grief and all of that, that was really stopping them. So, in order to get people to be more authentic and tell their true testimony, we have to create environments where people can talk and
Yes.
share
Yes.
without us looking down while they
Uh,
talk about what God has really done. We have to learn how to celebrate. And that's that, like, I pray that this book will teach someone how to celebrate
yes.
that God brought them out.
Yes.
So
So good.
yeah.
Yes. Celebrate. We should entitle it Freedom.
Yes.
Celebrate. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And
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 celebrate yourself.
yes. And when I say that, I don't mean celebrate all the mistakes. I mean celebrate that God brought you out.
Yes.
He
Yes.
brought you out. And it's not that you may not have residue on you. You might have some residue on you, but the environment that we create is one that allows that residue to come off, because we're not condemning you. He never condemned that woman at the well. He didn't condemn her. He told her the truth, but he did not condemn her. And I think he spoke to her from a place where she was already delivered. Like, she just needed to catch up with what he was saying to
Right.
her,
Right.
you know?
Right. Yep.
So I
Exactly.
don't know, just my thought.
Yeah. No, exactly. Exactly. How important is it for one to be healed and whole?
I think that he gave his life for
Right.
us to be healed and whole. I think it was so important that we be healed and whole that he said, I'll die so that they can become healed and whole. Like, so that my blood would be able to purify and cleanse them. It was that important. I do not believe that, that one of the saddest things that I see is that people leave this earth and they've never experienced wholeness because
Mm,
they can't be real.
mm-hmm.
Like your show is called Keeping It Real, but so many times we keep it fake.
Yes.
Who can be delivered in a fake? Like if I was having a baby, I'm not going to a fake hospital.
Come on,
I
sis.
don't
Come
want
on. Yeah.
I don't want a fake doctor. I don't want a fake nurse.
Right.
I want a real doctor. I want a real nurse. So we have to learn how to not let people stay in their past by giving them like speaking to them from where they could be,
Right.
not from where they've been. And
Right.
that means dealing with a lot of stuff that, listen, it might make you uncomfortable. But I've learned that shouting and crying, speaking in tongues, and quoting scriptures does not make you whole if you have not come to grips or term with your past.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
As something to
yeah.
think on. It's like I just want to take a moment of silence there. Like just let that just soak in that, like think about that for a
Yeah.
moment. You can do all of that. You can even like hug your neighbor, pretend to love your neighbor and really be, you know, completely broken and what have you. In the book,
Mhm.
again, this is entitled Women at the Well. In this book, Crystal Carter actually says, and this is a good portion, like a good part that I believe um, will help if you're trying to heal. Like if you're
Yeah.
trying because you don't know what to do. Some people just don't know what to do. They're like, I want to be healed, but like how do I go about that? Because yeah, like how do I do that? And there's a section here where she says, where Crystal says, repent,
Mm-hmm.
forgive yourself, forgive them. It is time to be whole. It's your time to soar. It's time, it's time, it's time. And I really love that part because I know for myself, let me be honest,
Mm-hmm.
I have made a million and two, not a million and one, a million and two mistakes in my life. I know that I know that I know that I know that there's things that I shouldn't have done. I know that I know that I know that God has forgiven me because I have asked Him to forgive me. But the
Yeah.
one thing that took me forever to realize was that I didn't forgive myself. I repented, I forgave them, but I completely forgot about
Mm-hmm.
me. Completely forgot that I need to forgive myself for allowing that. For sometimes you do
Right.
things you're like, how like there was a red flag, like how did I not see that? How did I not like how can I get back into that friendship? It was so narcissistic, and it's like, how did I do this? How? Like, we got to learn to forgive ourselves. And to be honest, I didn't even know that I had like I had not forgiven myself until I was actually at this church encounter. And one of the ladies at the church came up to me and she said, God told me to ask you a question. Have you forgiven everybody in your life? And I literally took a few moments. I went through different scenarios and I'm like, yeah, I have. And she said, no, you haven't forgiven yourself. And I broke
That's,
down because it hit me so
yeah.
hard. We often
Yeah.
forget to forgive ourselves. We are only human. And you want to know something? When we ask God for forgiveness, asking God for forgiveness is a part of repentance. Asking Him from the bottom of your heart and meaning it, being sincere is key. He forgives
Right.
and He forgets. He puts it into a sea of forget. Like, He chooses to do this. Like, that part baffles me. Like, God can do everything and anything,
Yeah.
and He chooses to take it and throw it into the sea of forgetfulness. But it's us as humans. We pull it up and say, oh God, I did this, and like, oh, here I go again. But your second time around
Mhm.
that mistake, and then coming to God for repentance, he doesn't remember the first time anymore. He doesn't. It's completely gone. So we should honestly not be so hard on ourselves and learn to forgive ourselves. So for me, myself, that was a big thing on learning how to forgive myself through it
Yes.
all.
And for many people, they may think, oh, I have forgiven myself. But if you can't speak well of you, if you can't see yourself being usable by God, if you can't just speak well of yourself, then there's something there that you need to address. If you see yourself in light of your past and not your future all the time, then there's still something there.
Hmm.
And that is, one of the things that God desires to do, because look, He saves us, but He doesn't take our memory.
No.
It's not like you got saved and then you forgot literally everything that you've ever done that wasn't pleasing to God. He doesn't take your memory, but He teaches you how to pursue your future in spite of your past.
Right.
And that's what happened with the woman. He gave her so much, like He infused so much hope and joy, forgiveness into this woman that the Bible says she dropped her water pot. The very thing that she came to get, He
Right.
gave her something else. And then she went to tell the folks, she had to run tell that. Like, look, this is what He did for me. This is what He said to me. That shame, that connection to that fear of being seen, that all of that was gone
Gone.
because she encountered the one that knew everything about her.
Right.
He didn't just say you've been married before. He was very specific. You've had 5 husbands, and the one you're with is not yours either. Like, He didn't mince words with her. He gave her the truth, but He gave it to her in love to make her change, cause her to desire to change who she was.
Right.
That's effective.
Absolutely.
It's not that, like, I think that sometimes we've confused telling people the truth with telling them the truth and then allowing them to make a choice. It's like I don't want to offend them. No, sometimes you have to. The truth. I remember my former first lady. She said the truth is bitter because many times you don't want to hear it,
Right.
but you still. We've been mandated to tell the truth. So you know, I I'm just I don't know. I think that is one of the issues that many people deal with is that forgiveness of self. And you have to learn to now my friend said this to me on Friday. You have to learn to see you how God sees you. You
Hmm.
won't know how God sees you if you don't dig into His word.
It's true.
So
Another moment of
yeah,
silence. Take that in. Yeah. Yeah. You dig into his word. Like, honestly,
yeah,
the Bible is literally a map for everything, like everything that you're looking for, even to find yourself. um,
yeah.
I'm telling you, it's like it's enlightening. It's great, and just so much.
It's
I'm
like
still learning.
right. You never stop, and it's like for me, as I think about this, who were you before you made the mistake? Like
Hmm.
the enemy wants to fight you to make you fully become this other thing other than what God created you to be. But God created you, according to Jeremiah, with a purpose.
Yes.
He created you for a reason. And there's something that only Jenny, only Tammy, only whoever views this can do in the earth. And when I was thinking about that, I thought about like in the Old Testament when Nebuchadnezzar went to get the best. He
Yes.
went to get the best kids,
Right.
the ones that looked the best. They were the strongest and healthiest, so he could change them to become something other than what God had created them to be.
Mm.
So for many of us, we've been living or existing rather in a place other than what God created us to be.
Hmm.
That ends today. It has to end today.
It
It
ends
has
today.
it has ends today.
Put in the thread, it
This is
ends
your
today.
day.
It ends today.
Yeah,
Type it in the thread, it ends today.
it ends
Yeah, no,
today.
so
And
true.
I can say that with a surety because even though they were, we talk about those four, David and his three, I mean, Daniel and his three friends, they didn't bow. So it can end today for all of us. If we're
Oh,
holding on to something that's trying to take our identity, our purpose, our power, our connection to God, it can end today. We can sever it today because we're talking about freedom,
mhm.
freedom to be what God created you to be, no matter what.
No matter what. And you
So
were
sorry.
made. No, it's good. You were made for such a time as this. He knew that he needed you for this moment, for this time, in the middle of pandemic, now. Now. He needs you
Yes.
now. And for those, and a lot of people too, I've even heard like, oh, like our children, like I really like, I wish like they didn't have to go through what's coming and all these different things with life. But God even has a purpose for them because they're made for this time too and what's to come.
Yes.
And there's only
That's
one of
good.
us. Isn't that mind blowing? There's only one of us and there'll never be another. Imagine.
That's
Ever.
right.
There was never anyone like us before and there'll never be anyone. So it's just absolutely mind blowing and amazing. But when you took
Yeah.
your leap of faith, did you
Hmm.
have a support team or did you do it on your own? Like how did you move forward in the sense of like the first couple steps is like baby steps and anything that you do it's like and you're a little like unstable. How did you um sorry, but it's like how did you do that? Did you have people to back you up and be like, girl, you can do this, like a good cheer team or um somehow like
I wish I could say that I was just obedient to God, but I
right
wasn't. I was very disobedient in the process. So hopefully this will bless somebody. When God told me what I was supposed to do, I wrote it down and I knew that it was from God. Like I had no doubt in my mind that it was from God. But then all of that negative self talk started happening and I was like, well, who's gonna want to write in your book? Who why would they think that you're qualified to do this? You're nothing special. All those things started coming
right
up. And I bought into it. I bought into it. But ever so often, God would remind me of what He said, that I was to gather women and they were to submit stories. I had never seen it done. I had never seen a book like this. And the closest thing was like chicken soup for the soul. That was like the
right
concept that he gave me, where they were bite-sized stories, but they had a big impact. And that's how he gave it to me. But eventually, I started talking about what I wanted to do. And of course, the enemy's in my ear, right? And he's telling me, well, you talk about a lot of stuff you want to do, but you haven't done it. And then let me tell you what else happened. I would hear people and they wouldn't say my name, but I knew they were talking about me, about how I had good ideas but didn't follow through.
girl.
So I had some facts going on, right? Like it wasn't just in here. I heard people say stuff and I was like, okay, Lord. I said, Lord, if this is the book that you want me to put out, then give me people that'll be honest.
Mm,
Because I don't want a feel good story that doesn't have any meat or depth.
right
I really want to know how a person got delivered from drugs. I really want to know what you did after your abortion. I really want to know, you've been with all these men and married and unmarried. How did you get over that? Because nobody's saying anything.
right
So eventually, God did give me a group of women that rallied behind me. And I have one person in particular that I think about, my cousin Tamika, and she would text me randomly. And she'd say, are you working on the book? Have you did this? Have you done that? And every time I would see her text me, I'd be like, oh God, why did I tell her? Why did I share this with her? But she pushed me. to complete it. So even in the midst where there were people that were dropping and backing out and this and that, I had people there were about 4 women that pushed me,
It's amazing.
and pushed me to get the book out. So God gave me the team that He knew I needed because I was fighting through my own insecurities to put this together. But once it came together, I was just like, you are amazing, God. So don't
Yeah.
give up. I said all that to say, don't give up. God will give you a team that will support you, and He'll teach you how to then be a support. I
Yes.
didn't know how to do that in every way. Like, I consider myself a servant, but there was a lot of things that I needed to learn through this process about support, about not being too proud to say I need help, about, crying out to God and giving Him the project back. It's your project, God, so you don't have to make this happen. And that's exactly, I mean, He showed out, sis. He showed out.
Right, right. And he did. He really, like, this is amazing. And you know what? When you actually take whatever it is that you're worried about, whether it be writing a book or whether it be doing a live, whatever it be, if you take it and like give it back to him and say, I'm here, I'm a vessel, use me as you will, but I'm going to go forth and you take over. You completely take over, do as you will. And you know what? He will. And he will show up not
Hallelujah.
just at any time, but right on time for you. So,
Yes,
woo, like
Lord.
goosebumps.
Hallelujah. He'll
Woo.
show up. He'll
Yes, he
show
will
up.
show up and he will. He will right on time. What lessons
Yes.
can we expect to learn or draw from this book?
I think there's a lot of lessons. The main theme though is that you'll never reach a place where God can't get you
Right.
and change you. I think there's in this book is a thread of courage and faith, um, and hope.
Mm,
And I believe that anyone that picks up the book, even if it's not their story, it'll be a story that they can draw from if someone else, when they encounter someone else with a similar story. I think it's an encouragement tool, and it's a tool of hope, and just the promise that God gives. Like, He's faithful. He don't cheat
amen.
on
No, no, no. Oh, frozen there for a second.
us. He is
It's
faithful.
It's true. Very, very
Yeah.
true. Very, very, and he's faithful and he's loving. He will love you and work with you as you go. He's just loving and caring,
Yes.
and he provides. Like,
Woo.
let's be honest,
Yes.
he is a provider.
Come on.
Whether it be the funds that you need or
Woo.
the joy that you need, he will provide. He'll provide
Yes.
it all. He's got your kids
Come
covered.
on,
He's got
sis.
everybody covered. You just have to trust. Listen, I know
Yes.
and that trust
That part.
can be something else. Sometimes I even feel like I've got trust issues and I got to put myself in check, not with God, but just with people in general, just, from past hurts and stuff. And I'm just like, no, God,
Yeah.
I've prayed over this. I've, like, done whatever, and I'm leaving that in your hands. But he will provide. He will do.
That's
Trust
right.
me. One of these days, I'll share some of my testimonies of being a single mom and where I am today, where I shouldn't be. Let's be honest, I shouldn't be.
Yes.
But by God's grace and His mercy and His love is like, it's agape. It's beyond the idea of love that we have. It's just so
Yes.
unconditional. Um, it's hard for us humans to even fathom. But if anybody has any questions, feel free to put them in the comments. We're going to be wrapping this up soon. Tammy, did you have any last words that you'd like to say or share with everybody?
Um, I just want to encourage people to live the life that God intended for you to live. Live the life that He shed His blood for. Don't be concerned about if people clap about your testimony, because my Bible says that all of heaven rejoices when one soul
Yeesh.
is
One.
redeemed.
One. Yes.
Just one. So you may not ever hear the claps of men, and that's okay.
Right.
But just know that heaven is rejoicing over the fact that you made it out. And God has purpose for your life. He
Yes.
has purpose. And it did not start when you were born, it was before you were born that He infused that purpose into your being. So, you know, just know that God knows how to find you. If you're listening to this and your relationship with God is not quite right, God knows how to find you and recognize the emptiness. Many times we don't recognize the emptiness that we feel because we've become accustomed to feeling it. But that's God saying, I'm trying to draw you.
Yeah.
Um, and just trust, like your relationship with God may not be on 100 level. It might be on a one level. She was like at a one level.
Right.
But if you talk to him long enough, right? If you talk to him long enough, he will say something that only God would know.
Right.
And when he says it, go with him, roll with him. So
Roll
that's
with it.
that's what I say. Trust God through the process of your healing and your deliverance.
That's right. And when you feel like you are not hearing from him, trust that he is still there and he is listening and he is watching and he has you covered. Just continue, though, to be present in his presence as you go
Oh,
forward
yeah.
because um, he will guide you, he will lead you, and he will use you for his glory. So, with that being said, thank you so much, Tammy Flakes, for being on this evening. I really appreciate you being here. It was such a great conversation tonight. Thank you to the KIR TV squad for being on here this evening and guests from all over the world. Welcome to Canada. um,
Yes.
yeah.
Thank you.
But as always, never forget that the sky is not your limit. But until next time, keep your head high, shoulders back, go get what's yours. Good seeing you guys. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.